Modern girls, timeless beauty. Guys, it's not that hard. Just wear 3 shirts. Hi, welcome to our Big Shoulders episode.
We are unveiled and revealed like never before. Hold your horses.
We're here to influence.
We're here to be influenced.
We're like a sponge, very porous.
Yeah.
And we're also here to give away free toys with Bellesa, the sponsor of today's video.
That's right. We are not just unshaming the sexiness of shoulders, but also the use of toys.
Yeah, and I think now that Mormon women everywhere are allowed to embrace the shoulder, I think that's just going to lead to a general increase in eroticism, specifically in Utah.
Yeah.
Or really anywhere that Mormons exist, and they kind of do exist everywhere.
They do.
So yeah, there's no better way to celebrate that than by doing a brand collab with Bellesa, our favorite women-owned sex toy company, and the creators of the world's first silent vibrator series, which we've talked about before and we're obsessed with because it's the world's first silent vibrators. If you haven't watched any of our videos where we've talked about Bellesa before, we're going to just show you how quiet they are, the Whisper collection.
If you hear a sound, it's actually the dishwasher. It's not this.
Always a question mark whether we turn the dishwasher off.
All right, here we go.
I can't hear a thing. That's the Whisper Bullet. This is the Whisper Rabbit. They're both made from really soft, premium grade silicone. I love the colorway as a cool, soft summer.
These are so pretty, so cute, so discreet. You could do it literally anywhere. I'm not encouraging you to, certainly not encouraging you to, but you could technically.
So the Whisper collection includes the Whisper Rabbit, the Whisper Bullet, and the Whisper Vibe, all of them silent. This Whisper Rabbit is my personal favorite. It has independently adjustable clit and G-spot stimulation, 6 vibration modes. These 2 guys work independently. It's kind of like conjoined twins, where it's like they can share a brain, they can kind of come together for a single purpose. So with our giveaway that we're doing with Bellesa today, basically if you purchase anything from the Whisper collection, you will get either a free Whisper Vibe or a free Air Vibe. Another time-tested favorite on this channel. So the Air Vibe also has separate G-spot and clitoris stimulation. Comes in this lovely rechargeable case. All the Bellesa toys, as I understand it, are waterproof, which is wonderful.
What I'll say about the Whisper collection is quietness is next to sexiness.
Yeah, I think we're in an era right now where we need as much stillness as possible. It doesn't hurt. So,
do you have roommates? Are you trying to jerk off?
Yeah, if you have roommates, I would hate to ever go outside of the Whisper collection.
Traumatized from my roommate situation.
Don't talk to town about roommates right now. The giveaway link is in our description box, so click that into your email, and any purchase from the Whisper collection, you'll get a free Whisper Vibe or Air Vibe, which is a steal because these are high quality toys. And with that, it's time to get into the shoulders of it all. What's your relationship to your shoulders like?
Well, I'd say it's second after head and second before knees. We got head, shoulders, knees, and then toes, famously. Mm-hmm. And of all of them, I'd say I really like them. I love all the things that shoulders can do. Climbing, putting to the wheel, like a pioneer kind of trek situation. And then also tempting people into betraying their soul into the hands of Satan by becoming walking pornography simply by showing your shoulders. That's my favorite things about shoulders.
So for those of you who don't know, the Mormon Church has basically loosened up its modesty standards in coming out with new garments being the sacred Mormon underwear, that now allow women to show a bit of shoulder, which for anyone who was younger in the Mormon Church is pretty nuts, because it was certainly felt like it was an unchangeable doctrine that showing your shoulders was bad. But now the Mormon influencers are raving about the new garments that are not available in the US, but they're like flying to Japan to get them or somehow getting them. It's a hot commodity. These new garments are hot off the press.
No terrestrial. No one talks about the terrestrial kingdom.
You'd kill yourself to get there.
They say about the celestial, but no one's like obviously it's better, not as good as celestial, but...
Yeah, but it's like we never talk about the fact that there's one that is better than celestial.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's like no one cares about the middle child ever,
right.
You know?
It's like the moon rocks.
Yeah.
Moon rocks. And there's fucking Quakers on it. Let's set the stage a little bit, shall we?
The shoulder stage.
The shoulder stage. This is a quote from an old apostle and scholar in the church. I believe it's B.H. Roberts, but I cut off the quote, and I'm not going to go dig for it. The Lord has given unto us garments of the holy priesthood. This was back when, keep in mind, when Joseph Smith was first getting into Freemasonry toward the end of his life, when things were genuinely getting freaky. They should have a reality TV show called The Secret Wives of Nauvoo Wives because what a time. It would be like Love Island, but like Love Swamp because it was right there in the swamp. And Joseph Smith was freakier than ever in every way. He's taken on new wives, sister, mother, daughter combos. He's raising the largest private army in the United States and riding down the street with the sword of Laban and smoking a cigar and just really shit's going down. And they've got the biggest city. It's like bigger than Chicago at the time. It's just wild. So
he found the time in all of that.
Yeah, he got into Freemasonry. He's changing doctrines left and right, introducing new things, Adam God, and all kinds of stuff. And one of the things was Freemasonry. And he's like, hey, maybe they could help us out here. I used to be an anti-Freemason, which is why the Book of Mormon is full of anti-Masonic rhetoric. Yeah. Because that was a popular sentiment, kind of like the Word of Wisdom, the Mormon Health Code. It was like not just confined to Mormonism. Mormonism was like riding the wave of a national and international temperance movement. Same thing with Freemasonry. There was a strong anti-Masonic movement in the early 1800s, late 1700s. Joseph Smith and that area was a big part of that, and there's a lot of like references to them in the Book of Mormon as being like secret combinations and all this and that. And
he was just jealous he wasn't in the club.
Exactly, but then he couldn't get invited to any of the other clubs, so he's like, maybe I should become a Freemason.
And once he got like enough power and influence, like, you know, because he's already established the church at this point, his dream all along was just to be in the club. Yeah. And then once he could be, he joined it, and then he was like, and I'm going to pretend that a lot of that was actually my thing.
He's like, actually, yeah.
I'm taking a lot of that. It's like, that's kind of the whole thing about the Masons is you're supposed to kind of keep it on the hush hush, I imagine.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's coming with me.
Yeah.
Making my own brotherhood.
Yeah, he read the room totally wrong because he thought when the crowd that stormed the jail and shot him to death, he thought he could do the Masonic symbols of distress and somebody might help him out. But they were like, bitch, that's why we're killing you.
Oh, because you stole our symbols. Wait, really? No,
that's a narrative about members of the mob. Also that they were upset about Joseph Smith marrying children.
So valid.
And just being a cultish menace across the board and
getting too big for his boots, honestly.
Yeah, it's kind of like if you've seen Wild Wild Country, always plugging it, such a great docuseries that I think is such a beautiful analog to the Mormon experience where this cult moves to the frontier, like way out in the boonies of Oregon, land where there's only like 200 people or whatever, because they're like, no one's here, we can just do our thing and live our life. But what they actually do is take over an area, and now the people who were there don't have a say in what goes on in their own things. And so now names are changing, and they have no political power or economic power because you have to be Mormon or Rajneeshi in order to operate. And so then all of a sudden they're like dispossessed, and everyone's like, well, sorry, God gave us this land, so
and then they got to make an army eventually to protect themselves, and then they're just kind of like in a local civil war with each other.
Yeah, then you got to assassinate the governor because he's published the extermination order. It's just it's a mess. You don't want to get into it.
Extermination order is crazy, though.
It is crazy.
That's intense.
So that was a really long-winded way of saying when he got into Freemasonry, he also got into...
It's all coming back to shoulders and Mormon women in the modern day.
He also got into underwear design, fashion design, as part of this...
It's good to have an outlet.
This ritual that he went through Freemasonry. He was like, I think I could improve this a little bit and take full credit. So he did, and he introduced the Mormon endowment ritual. And as part of it, there was like a garment that you get dressed in that you promise to wear throughout your life, that it will keep you from harm, from the power of the destroyer to the last day.
Especially fire-based stuff.
Yeah, so there's
what we kind of learned.
A lot of Mormon lore out there about people, sharks eating you until they get to the garments, and then like, ooh, I hate that the taste of godliness. Fibrous.
Because it's complete microplastics.
Yeah, like there's enough microplastic in the ocean. We don't need any more. And lots of fire. The fire only singed the part. It's like, because clothes nowadays by law have to be fire retardant, so they do stop it. Your clothes don't like light and fire in the same way unless they're made back in the old way. Anyway,
Joseph's coming up with his temple ceremonies. Does he do the garment right away as soon as he's doing the temple ceremony?
So he recruits the help of some seamstresses in town. And they
convenient.
Yeah.
How many of them became wives?
And they're, these like just burlap sack kind of looking things and with just a universal hole in the crotch, all-purpose utilitarian hole.
And did he just come up with that idea himself, or did the Masons wear anything special, or
I don't
what
think
made him want to do that?
I don't think the Masons have an undergarment.
I bet he just wanted to do like some kind of naked ceremony, because it was a naked ceremony in the beginning, and he was just like, if I'm giving them these sacred clothes, then there's a reason for them to.
Yeah, I get to put it on you. Of course, they have to like step in it, and I got to bless all your organs to make sure that, everyone's properly blessed.
A cult leader being in charge of what underwear you wear is just like so classic.
Yeah, and after like bathing you in whiskey and oil and blessing all your body parts, and he clothes you in this garment, which is also like just a basic form of control. Like if you own somebody's skin, you're in there. Like your hooks are in. If they're thinking about you every time they clothe, you're in charge of them.
Somebody's skin.
Yeah, and it used to have a collar that was kind of like Daddy Joseph.
It's an extreme control kink for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, it used to be that way, and instantly people were like, this is kind of a lot. Like we're in Nauvoo, Illinois. We're trekking across the plains to Salt Lake City, Utah. What is it today? Like 100 degrees. I rollerbladed here, by the way.
You were so brave for
and if I had been wearing garments, I would have had a heat stroke. Yeah, there were initially like really strong reactions, and this is why this apostle says, at this time, the Lord has given unto us garments of the holy priesthood, and you know what that means. And yet there are those of us who would mutilate them in order that we may follow the foolish, vain, and permit me to say, indecent practices of the world. I love how like foolish and vain was like fine to throw out there, but saying indecent is like, I know even saying the word indecent is indecent, but if you would permit me.
He's like, and I'm not trying to be a bitch, but
also indecent. In order that such people may imitate the fashions, they will not hesitate to mutilate that which should be held by them most sacred of all things in the world, next to their own virtue, next to their own purity of life. They should hold these things that God has given them sacred, unchanged and unaltered from the very pattern in which God gave them. Let us have the moral courage to stand against the opinions of fashion, especially where fashion compels us to break a covenant and commit so grievous a sin.
God, he'd be rolling in his grave at Mormon influences.
Oh yeah, he is having a full-on meltdown in heaven.
It's so funny, like the Mormon wives, or just that vibe of Mormons, where it's just like, have you like read anything from past church leaders and realized how much you would bully them? Like how much you just would not respect those people. You would just think they were fucking nuts.
Oh yeah, if Brigham Young saw the church today, he would.
Yeah, like if anyone in the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives like got a single second of Brigham's energy, they'd be like,
To be fair, the actual Mormon church does not condone the secret wives today either.
Yeah. But I'm just like, why are you guys clinging on? Like the guys who met, it's just wild.
Actually, apparently that quote was from Joseph F. Smith, a polygamous man, and with a beard down to his dick, said, it is a sin to change from the ankle to wrist bags that they used to wear. So that's the stage that's been set. And of course, like they say, how many Mormons does it take to change a light bulb? 12 million and one to change the light bulb, 12 million to say nothing has changed. It's kind of the way it's been all along. They keep trimming it down, and at every step people are like, hey, we don't really need to be doing this. And the church is like, if we made any change to it, we would be abandoning the covenants of God and defying all that is good and holy and become just like the world, pernicious and evil and, dare I say, indecent.
And then 100 years later, they like, just quietly do it.
Yeah.
And they're like, it was never about that, okay?
Fast forward to the For the Strength of Youth pamphlet that I grew up reading. This is a little booklet the church gives all the youth.
And sometimes encourages the youth to give their friends.
I was going to say that too. Yeah, totally.
Reason.
It's like, hey, you ought to know that
Here's
I'm
a book
judging
about
you.
how you shouldn't ever drink tea.
Yeah. This says, never lower your standards of dress. Do not use a special occasion as an excuse to be immodest.
No.
When you dress immodestly, you send a message that is contrary to your identity as a son or daughter of God, which is already just funny right off the bat, because your body is actually what signals that you would be a son or daughter of God, right? Like, you weren't born with clothes on, so you don't signal that you are what you are by adopting a foreign man-made artificial thing.
Well, Jesus was just all about clothes and focusing on clothes and making sure you're thinking about your clothes.
And the outward appearance generally.
Right,
Isn't that the Bible verse? Is like, men focus on the inward appearance, but I, God, focus on the outward, because I'm cool like that. This goes on to say, immodest clothing is any clothing that is tight, sheer, or revealing in any other manner. This is already pretty open up to interpretation because if you were talking about the old garments, that could mean revealing your wrist, revealing your ankles. I'm sure there are some Amish people not watching this right now who would agree that to show any ankle is scandalous and, permit me to say, indecent.
Unless they're on their Rumspringa. In which case, welcome to all Amish people currently on their Rumspringers watching Self on the Shelf. We are so happy to have you here.
We find out that's 80% of our viewership is Amish people on Rumspringa.
It's only people that have never interacted with media that could possibly tolerate us.
Yes.
Like, I guess this must be what it's like out there.
Wow. Well, if they're struggling with
ankles,
ankles...
They go right back to Amish.
They do, yeah. Good luck out there.
Sorry, we couldn't do it for you.
This says, and I love how much they immediately go into policing women. They go, immodest clothing is any clothing that is tight, sheer, strike 2 for you.
2 for 2.
Or revealing in any other manner.
Any other way.
So we both strike 3. I'm showing a little wrist. I'm showing a little belly. Young women, specifically. Men... We'll see. Young women should avoid short shorts. Strike 3, you're out of here. Shirts that do not cover the stomach. You are just a whore of Babylon.
I know, I'm sorry.
Shirts that do not cover the stomach and clothing that does not cover the shoulders or is low cut in the front or the back. You literally have broken every single one of God's most sacred commandments. Young men should also maintain modesty and appearance.
Yeah. You kind of do what you want.
That is so funny. I mean, it's not. It's really, really sad. But it's just like so obvious that they're literally just like all about controlling women and young women. And then men is just kind of like, you're not the problem. It's women. They are the issue. And their behavior constitutes what happens to them and what men do. We're going to get into some heinous territory in a second.
To me personally, nowhere is like the philosophy undergirding all of this more disturbing than in modesty standards for children. Like when people make like 4-year-old girls have their clothes all the way to their knee, have their shoulder, be modest. You're just sexualizing children. I hate it so much. You see it so much in the way that a 4-year-old boy would never be required to dress that modestly. So it's like you're saying that a 4-year-old girl is more sexual, more of an object than a 4-year-old. It's just horrifying to me.
This says, the fashions of the world will change, but the Lord's standards will not change. And there's the 12 million plugging in the light bulb.
Yeah, it's all very changey. It's kind of one of the biggest things about Mormonism.
Yeah.
It's like, why'd they have to fuck themselves over with all those teachings early on about how all these things can never change or the church is in apostasy? Spiritually juvenile worldviews involve a lot of insisting that things are permanent and certain and fixed because for some reason, like a spiritually juvenile psyche needs that. And then the natural outcome is just that all of it does change, but then no one is able to care.
Down the memory hole. This says, oh God, trigger warning. This is J. Reuben Clark, notorious anti-Semite. He says, I'm sure you girls do not appreciate, you young people, and it may not be the older ones, that the nudity which your fashions now sanction and indeed call for has its origin in the minds which you seek to clothe, so to clothe you that you may appeal to the baser passions of men, and if so clothed, you shall be assaulted. Take at least part of the blame to yourselves. If you're showing a little skin, you are to be blamed for being assaulted, which is insane. This was back, we don't even have a color photo of this guy. This is back in black and white eras where everybody pretty much was like, covered. They certainly weren't showing a lot of shoulder out in public like all the women. They certainly weren't showing their thighs and their stomachs.
Which just goes to show, like, modesty is culturally created. The cultures where women are forced to cover up the most are the ones where they're most sexualized and abused.
Yeah.
So he's wrong. Like, there's not a correlation between showing skin and it seems to be the reverse. Like, the more puritanical the culture, the more women aren't viewed as equals, and so then they're like treated like sexual objects and abused.
Yeah. For as much Islamophobia that gets thrown around about burqas and stuff, it's like this is the full extent of your philosophy.
Yeah.
That it is fully a woman's problem with how she's treated, and that men are ultimately allowed to do what they want.
And it can be never ending because, like in Islam, I mean, in Afghanistan or Iran, I know that Islam is broad, and I'm talking about, but under a certain fundamentalist rule, women aren't allowed to stand by a window or speak in public or sing, or because it's just like the existence of women is seen as a temptation because all women are sexual objects. And I feel like we don't talk enough about how much, I've brought this up in recent videos, but like women after every war, the good guys, including like after World War II, American, British, other allied soldiers, raped like 2 million women and children. Like the good guys. No, that never gets talked about because it's just like women are so insignificant so easily. These purity, modesty cultures are like feeding into that problem. They're not fixing it.
Totally.
They always delude themselves into thinking that because every Mormon would be like, no, I mean, a woman having to cover her entire face is insane. And it's like, it's the exact same underlying philosophies. You're just wanting to assimilate a bit more to the wider culture in which you live in. I mean, most people who are wearing burqas live in more Islamic countries where it is more normal to them. Also, like everything modern Mormons wear now, all these guys in the past would have said was horrendously inappropriate and deserving of being abused even.
Yes, totally. It's funny, I had a conversation a while back with a believer, and I was like, yeah, kind of interesting how much the rules have relaxed over the years. And they responded to me by saying, yeah, it just shows how evil the world's getting. And I'm like, but I was like, but the things that they're relaxing on aren't actually bad, right? Like you can now wear shoulders and it's not bad. And because it never really was bad.
Because evil's not really connected to the shoulder.
Yeah, it's not.
I mean,
you are now realizing that it was never bad to begin with. And like...
What was the shows about evil the world is?
They're like, yeah, now the world has got so evil that now we just, like, you pretty much have to show shoulders if you want to meet anybody and share the gospel with them. It's just, the way that they're automatically conditioned to view everything in favor of the church and paranoid about the world. But it's like, really the opposite is happening. You're doing exactly what the church warned you about. The church is doing exactly what it warned you about, which is changing and adapting to the fashions and the immodest perversions of the world. And that's what it's doing, because it wasn't actually perversion, and it wasn't actually evil, and it wasn't actually ever worthy of you being assaulted simply for baring your shoulders. And now you guys are kind of finally growing up about it.
Kind of.
We still have Elder Dallin H. Oaks alive and leading the top tier of the church, who says, young women, please understand that if you dress immodestly, you are magnifying this problem by becoming pornography to some of the men who see you.
Well, now that you can't get pornography in Utah, it's like you got to be your own pornography, I think. It's wait, otherwise it's
get your OnlyFans going.
Yeah, well...
Only shoulds.
Only shoulds.
I was going to say, we did look it up, and there is a shoulder fetish subreddit. So
obviously
something for everybody. And if you're new to shoulders, Mormons watching, go check it out.
It's been just kind of, in light of all this, like the historical context really does highlight the absurdity of Mormon women online being so openly excited about the new garments and acting like it's just this like fun, flirty change, which I get that kind of to them it is. It's like, oh, I'd made my peace with this kind of unbearable thing I had to do, but now it's getting slightly better. Woo, I get why they would celebrate a win, but it's just like so sad that that's a win. And also once again, so telling, like, I like what Jesus said about clothing, about not being so obsessed with having the finest stuff, or just basically not putting too much focus on that, because your clothing doesn't really matter. It's not the essence of who you are or like your goodness. But the fact that Mormon women, I mean, there's entire accounts on TikTok dedicated to helping Mormon women dress in ways that are garment friendly, which just goes to show a massive amount of these women's time and attention effort is being taken up by this completely arbitrary thing. And it's like, I am a hypocrite because I have a million time sucks in my life too, but it's like that time, if you're a disciple of Jesus Christ, could be out there serving people. The fact that you feel like one of the best ways you can serve the world is to like cover up just the right amount that these men have told you to is just kind of sad. And I feel like it's so stifling. Yeah, it's just a waste of time and energy and money. Like, you don't need to be buying all that shit. I saw one TikTok, if I could just show it quickly because it's brief.
This is a hack for all of my garment-friendly people like me.
I'm not a Mormon. I am a garment-friendly person.
I feel like a lot of times I bend over and my garments are hanging out. So all you have to buy is a super cheap tube top on Amazon. and you just put it on the bottom.
All you have to do is buy a third polyester top from jeffbezos.com and then you'll be fine. Just wear 3 shirts.
And then you can be worthy
It's
in the Lord
easy.
and not pornographize yourself every time you bend over.
Modern girls, timeless beauty. Guys, it's not that hard. Just wear 3 shirts.
Half of your shirt, whatever. So when you bend over, bend and snap.
Don't mention
quote
Legally Blonde. I know.
That's not for you.
That's not right. You haven't earned that.
Sorry, I just have to go back to calling out specifically that thing we read. I know I said trigger warning, sexual assault, but like that is literally rape culture. Like when we talk about rape culture, that
Modesty
is it.
culture is rape culture.
It
Purity
is.
culture is rape culture. We really can't stress that enough.
Well, in the projection, because it's like this prophet or whoever is like, obviously, every time I see a woman with her skin exposed, whether or not she is asking for sexual attention or like, you know, in a sexual energy, she's just living, doing her thing, then my instinct is like, I gotta go jerk off to her.
So
like, what a
narcissistic.
projection. Like, what are you saying about your own psyche? That's not how I react to seeing people. And that was actually one of my first beefs with the church. I've talked about this, where I was like sitting in a priesthood meeting and they're talking about this shit. And I'm like, what are you guys, who are we? Who do you think I am? Who are you saying that you are?
Yeah.
I'm not going to behave that way. If I see someone like just see some skin, I all of a sudden become this like lustful, overwhelmed, like assaulter because it's like, I just can't handle myself because she tempted me on beyond that which I could bear. It's like, you're just saying that you are perverted, that you view people as pornography, that you objectify. And I'm sorry, if you can't handle like a little stomach skin, you're probably wound a little too tight. You need to chill the fuck out. And Jesus himself said, if thine eye offend you, pluck it out. He didn't say cover up and shame them and tell them they're pornography. He said, rip your fucking eye out, Dallin.
Loser. Well, I do think you had a higher level, like you humanized women more than the average in Mormonism, I believe. Because you were just as sexually repressed as those men you were in young men's with, but I do think it's pretty typical when you repress men's sexuality that much, it just naturally lends itself to objectifying women more. So it makes complete sense to me why that would be the case, and I'm glad you weren't like that. I feel like you kind of got lucky through whatever teachings and stuff you're exposed to, but yeah, I mean, it's just...
Well, it does go hand. Obviously, it's like misogynistic inherently, but it's the way that it fosters resentment toward women. Obviously, just restating essentially, but it does. It's like, oh, they're the problem. They're the ones who are temptressing. They're the ones who are pornographizing. They're the ones who are...
There is genuinely nothing scarier than men who resent the objects of their desire. Like, that's where the worst shit happens in this world, is that phenomenon.
Yeah.
And purity culture creates it. The amount of mental and physical energy that goes into trying, for women specifically, making garments work. Because with men, it's not as big of a deal. It's pretty similar to regular boxers. It's pretty similar to just wearing an undershirt. But for women, it's like this additional burden that they bear when they're already like running a household and have more kids than they can handle a lot of the time. And they're already, there's already so much. I mean, just being a mum alone and having your whole identity become being a wife and mother, that already is so damaging for a woman's sort of life force and sexuality, sensuality, ability to be connected to herself and her pleasure and all that. And then it's just like you throw in this into the pile as well. You just have to buy all these different types of garments or like follow influencers to like figure out what might work with clothing. And like, it's just a complete time suck. That's just it grates on me how much time women are being robbed of through this.
Yeah.
What will you do with your one wild and precious life?
Self-expression through clothing is a true delight. It's a sartorial delight, a sartorial treat. And it sucks that so much energy is wasted around trying to accommodate. And if it's your thing, whatever. But I think there's a reason everyone is so fucking excited that the change is happening, because as much as they'd be like, I love the garments and I can't imagine never being able to not wear them, or I would never want them changed because even though I can't show my shoulders would actually cause me to have men inflict violence on me. So I'm actually really grateful for the blessing of safety that the garment provides me. But then the second it changes, it's like, thank God, wow, the church is true. Now I can show my shoulders.
It's just wild to me that while I was Mormon, it didn't even occur to me that, like, hang on, Jesus talked a lot about not being so obsessed with your clothes. And this is actually making me think about my clothes way more, but it's giving me like this weird sense of, It's just a new kind of scrupulosity it's introducing. That's all it is.
Oh, yeah. We love...
It's just like giving you an OCD to keep you pliable.
Yes. The fun thing about the garment change is that they could just infinitely scale it back. Like, for instance, if,
Yeah.
because they have a marking here, here, and here, and it just says above the navel. So it could just be technically above the navel. It could be technically just anywhere above the knee, even though it's supposed to be, it has historically been like on the knee. Semantics,
I wonder how much garments will fade into being a thing that maybe only like people in more leadership-y positions will wear eventually. Because it already feels like a lot of Mormon women are just kind of choosing to take them or leave them.
I bet the next, I don't know, it is such a valuable means of control and keeping people invested in the whole temple scheme it's like the real estate is the main thing of the church.
Yeah.
It feels like, other than the stock portfolio. But real estate is a huge part of that, and the temples being part and keeping people going to the temples.
Yeah.
Do little dead works and neglect working out their salvation outside the walls.
You know you're in a cult when your mom is crying in a therapy session because you posted a picture of you wearing this outfit on Facebook. Your shoulders are...
It's like the most demure little like liberal jumpsuit. It's really not in any way sexual.
showing. That's an offense to God. God is pissed and thinks I'm a bad person for
That is so sad.
But isn't it so understandable though? Like I could so imagine while I was Mormon, I would feel like that too, because it's like you're just openly defying God, and ultimately like your idea of what it means to be good versus bad is completely tied to that, which is again so sad and so limiting in people's personal ability to like discern what is like true and good and right in this world, just tied to such made up random stuff that you're obsessively thinking about. So when you perhaps hear of real offenses going on in the world, for example, like abusing someone, that's like fully crossing someone else's boundaries and like violating their autonomy. So very, very, very different from showing skin. And yet they're almost just lumped in together because that's the one you've been focused on more. That's the one you've been trained to look for more. Like it's just a classic Mormon thing that everyone's always garment checking all the time. Oh, so many neural pathways built in the service of nothing,
A mental labyrinth. The pathways just wind and wind and wind and wind, and can be whatever it needs to be in any moment. There's nothing objective to pin down.
There's so many books about, like technologies or like drugs coming in that just completely distract people. And it's really like garments are like a social technology when you really think about it.
Yeah, I guess.
An engineering device, if you will.
Psychosocial engineering.
Yeah.
From the mystic in chief, Joseph Smith himself. It makes sense.
Yeah.
The man was up to something. he was doing something.
He was up to a lot.
Yeah, and he found a way. And now there's a cottage underwear industry right in this very city. But you gotta pay a subscription.
The garment industrial complex.
Yeah, you know what I could see them doing actually is changing it so that it's only when you go to the temple. I bet
that you have to wear them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. Or like maybe if you're like a bishop or something.
Yeah, maybe you're a temple president, someone who's like on the clock.
Or it's like it doesn't hurt to wear them at other times. Or maybe you wear them on Sundays. Or,
yeah.
But I just don't see... They're not a popular idea for good reason. Even just the fact that like the way that our collective thoughts about psychology and trauma have evolved. Like people are learning about embodiment. People are learning that it actually matters that you notice what's going on in your body and don't just let yourself be unconsciously led by it all the time. Like Gen Z, millennials, even Mormons, I imagine there's still a lot of content they're coming across where it's like, feel how your body is feeling. And we're becoming more aware of neurodivergence and how a lot of people have sensory issues. And garments are obviously a sensory nightmare for so many people. I honestly found them so stifling in a way that really did sort of like negatively affect my mental landscape. Not even because I was actively thinking about them, but it really just was this thing that made me feel more confined, even subconsciously. So I just think there's no way they can last.
Or they could last to the end of time. We'll see.
Yeah.
And the end of time could be any day now.
I say they roll them the other way. Like next time they update the garments, go balls to the wall and just be like, it's a test of obedience. They love doing that.
I think they should.
Or I'm like, I wish religions would just come up with something like a glittery rainbow cape or just something really mad. It's like oh, you want to be in the world but not of the world? Prove it. Wear the cape.
Yeah. Did you see that Mormons are wearing crosses now?
Yes, I did.
Wild.
Yeah, it's because they're just wanting to just be like soft, glam
We're
Christians.
Christian guys. We're not a cult. We're just like mainstream Christians. Just the one true Christian. But, you know, if anyone has the right to wear a cross, it's us because we're the real Christians. Even though we've said it's a sign of, you know, whatever.
Sometimes I want to wear a cross.
I wear it like kind of Billy
Yeah.
Idol style, like a
Yeah.
cross earring. Yeah, sure, do it. Who's to say who can own the letter T? It kind of reminds me of the old, that tweet that was like, kind of fucked up how we put crosses on all the Christian buildings, just reminding Jesus of the most traumatic instance of his
Yeah.
whole life. Like,
Yeah.
what are we trying to freak him the fuck out?
Yeah, because it's like, okay, this world will kill you if you're too good. Amazing. That causes me great existential despair, to be honest, I guess, but he came back. So I think if I was Jesus, I just wouldn't come back.
Not worth it. You guys can fend for yourselves, atone for your own sins.
Yeah, I think I made my point.
If Jesus could atone for every single sin of every single person in a matter of a night, like an evening, couple hours in the garden, and then maybe again on the cross, depending on which beliefs you have about the events. But either way, if that could all just be done in that short of an amount of time, why would it be that hard for every human being to just kind of suffer the penalty of their own sin
Good point,
in
Taylor.
that time period? Like what, there's 8 billion, 9 billion people right now or something, and how many that have ever lived? Break it down hour by hour, minute by minute. That's like, what, like a minute of suffering per person? Like, I could do that. Like, I didn't ask him to be crucified for me. He didn't have
Yeah.
to sweat great drops of blood. I'll do that on my own.
Yeah, if we're all, I know Jesus was like the best one of us and all that, but it's like, if we're all supposed to be the same and we're supposed to try and become like Jesus, it really doesn't make sense that he did that for us when we could just do it all individually. But I feel like it's just because it's a classic abuser narrative of like, I did this thing that you didn't even ask me to do, so therefore you fucking owe me.
Yeah. And honestly, I think he was just kind of like a symbol that got taken too far.
Yeah.
Like, just a classic martyr, someone, your local zealot who was a good guy, by all accounts. He's feeding people, he's teaching, he's being like, hey, I fuck with Caesar, I give him the coin, whatever. Like, he's not trying to stir up trouble, but they think he's stirring up trouble because he's going against the local leader, his local church leaders. And that was the big problem there, and going into the temple and disrupting commerce and destroying private property. Yeah, that was kind of...
Destroying private property? Not good. That's one of the worst things you can do in this life,
Yeah,
other than
literally.
the shoulder thing.
Yeah.
Do not touch the target.
I forgot where I was going with that, but Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, and like probably on the schizophrenia spectrum, let's be real about it. And then, society just wouldn't make a space for him and was too threatened by his difference.
Oh, but, he did something, got killed, and then I think it was kind of like, this guy died for us. Like, he died, defending us as a people, as a belief, as a religion. And then it kind of became like, no. He died specifically for you. Like, not in the way that...
Like Joan of Arc died for France.
Yeah, or... Oh, that's grim. Like, Matthew Shepard died for, like, queer awareness and compassion. Like, obviously you don't have to, like, assign a purpose to that because it was just, like, a heinous act of evil and
That's
violence.
the thing, yeah.
But you can kind of see the effect. And I think with someone like that who was, like, a political, religious revolutionary in his way, it was, like, easy to martyr, but then the martyr thing got totally taken way too far by Paul and others. I blame Paul.
The fact that Christians or Mormons or whoever will feel like Jesus' death didn't matter because like ultimately he triumphed over it. It's about what happens after that really matters. I don't know. I just think if you think the best guy in the world was murdered and that was like kind of good, then it's probably very easy to justify other people being killed who are not the best people in the world.
Isn't that literally like the message of Kurt Vonnegut's Slaughterhouse-5? He's like, they killed Jesus. He was very well connected. He was, his dad was the creator, all powerful and all that. So then he's going to get his revenge. And so if you're going to kill people, you got to make sure they're not well connected. Okay. Yeah. The people furthest from God, as you can understand, it's okay to kill those people. That's the takeaway.
Yeah.
That other truth that's like, if I was Jesus, I'd be like, I don't know, Dad, that sounds like your thing.
Yeah. Don't have to carry on the family business if it doesn't resonate.
No. Actually, I did see on my walk recently a local Christian church that had the queer flag and I think even the trans flag out in front of it. And I was I felt like I would stop in there. I kind of want to stop in there.
Yeah.
Jesus is kind of like the guru figure that does save you by showing you that you're your savior. He gives you those, leads you along. You seek him and seek him and seek him and seek him till you get to the inner temple and the veil is ripped and you see in the mercy seat clearly and you see as you are seen and know as you are known, as Paul says, and you realize that you're just as much a son of God as Jesus was, and you are just as much an intersection of God or the universe as he is, and a lot of those principles that he taught, when understood from that lens, make more sense than when they were shoehorned into these artificial man-made structures. So religion is kind of this, like a fruit or a nut that has, it's like the church itself is like this husk, and, you know, it falls to the earth and the husk goes away so that the inner fruit, which is the principle, can be enjoyed. And I think that's kind of like the Fowler stage 5 or whatever. It's like realizing that there is value in the myths that have been shared. There is something to be taken away, some, you know, commentary or insight into the human experience that still retains value, even when all the unessential and untrue have fallen away.
Beautifully said.
In reality, I'm actually very fun, relaxed, and easy.
Moral of the story, congrats to all the Mormon freaks who are allowed to now shoulder their shoulders like common whores.
We're happy
Hope
for
you
you.
enjoy being a tramp and a floozy for the rest of your mortal life.
Because the world has got so evil, so they had to let you have shoulders.
Kind of like how we had to be racist, otherwise we'd be persecuted.
Yeah.
It's like, isn't being persecuted your whole thing? It's like, no, they would have done it even worse. They would have actually killed us all if we weren't racist.
There's the way that ideologies can fuck up the way that you weight things. Just wild.
Yeah, because it's like all sin keeps you from the presence of God. And even though they can acknowledge, like, they definitely said, like, murder is the worst sin. And I'm like, yeah, it's pretty bad to take an innocent life. But then right up there is sexual sin, the sin next to murder. And it's like, that is actually a pretty crazy leap. You're like, sexual assault is next to murder. Sure. But just like any sexual sin, which could be anything from assault to
The Whisper
masturbation.
Collection.
To the Whisper Collection.
Anyone who's sort of studied spiritual maturity or like, you know, how a psyche can become more mature, like able to hold contradiction, become more resilient, more capable of critical thinking, blah, 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 blah. They all say that like more juvenile psyches need things to be more like black and white and simple. And I just think something like racism, even though in many ways it's very simple, don't be racist, racism is bad, but like for a lot of people, reckoning with the church's racism is such a complex, messy thing that's it's almost easier for them to be like to not think about it. Whereas something as simple as like, is that girl showing her shoulders, is a very easy way you can feel like you're assessing. Like we're supposed to be moving, it's good for us to move through the world and be making sort of value judgments, but it's just kind of co-opting that impulse in a way that is totally useless, except in just this made up community that you can now only exist within because your brain has just been so molded to only think about that. It's like you don't even care about half the stuff that the people outside care about, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, it's amazing the lengths they'll go to prescribe behaviors to women and how little attention has ever been addressed to like how to not be a racist, how to be an anti-racist, you know? Plus, like, they have so much trouble acknowledging that anyway. It's kind of just like an old-timey mindset, I think. Because, like, even Trump, who was just used like an anti-Semitic slur, was like, I've never heard it that way. It's like, yeah, because you've only heard it in anti-Semitic content. Like, you've only ever used it in a way.
Women.
Yeah, it's like, I've seen that about, like, older generations when they, like, were found out to have, like, used the N-word or done blackface or something. They're like, we didn't mean anything by it at the time. It's just what was said. And it's like, but you're using it derogatory. Like, it's a derogatory term that you use. So whether or not you, like, can see yourself as a bad person who is intentionally trying to do harm, that is literally what you're doing.
My great uncle had a cat, not while I was alive, but called the N-word. And it was like, to him, it was just like a cute name, you know, like calling like a white cat Snowy. I don't know, like because obviously he doesn't hate his cat. So you could see like the fucked up logic there where it's like, that's just what a black person's called. But it's like,
no, it's not. That's not what they want to be called.
But this is why they were called. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the only time I have to tell my mum not to use the N-word is when she'll reference that cat. I think she might have stopped in recent years actually saying it.
Good
I
for
can't
her.
remember.
It worked.
Yeah.
It finally worked.
And she cares, but it's sometimes with older generations, it's like hard to really get them to care because of.
I've been impressed by her ability to change her opinion on a few key things. I remember when she was telling me, but she was like, my work had a very compelling meeting about.
Yeah, and she learned that children have feelings, and I was like, 30 years too late. But love that you learned that because you are nicer to eat out in public with now. Well, I think that's where we leave you for today, sending you into the arms of our Balesa giveaway, whereby you will get a free Air Vibe or Whisper Vibe with your purchase of anything from the Whisper Tech collection, which is the world's first silent vibrator collection. Very exciting.
Your pleasure to the next level.
We genuinely really like Balesa. They're kind of our only sponsor on this channel, generally speaking. So they're a big part of how we're able to make these videos, along with our Patreon community. And also you should join us there. We just did a banana bread baking Zoom all together with some of our patrons, and everyone made a banana bread and it was so lovely.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed finishing that yesterday while watching Love Island.
Thanks to everyone who joined us. That was so fun.
Yeah, anything else you want to say about shoulders?
I do have one final announcement.
Okay.
That on July 24th, Pioneer Day, I'm putting on a Pie and Beer Day comedy show. It's going to have a lineup of a bunch of really funny comics, and Stacey Harkey is hosting, the guy from Studio C. So funny. It's going to be a good time. So tickets are on sale really
Probably
quick.
get them now because it might fill up fast.
Yeah, get tickets now. It's going to be a hoot, a holler, and a riot. And there will be pie, there will be beer. You'll laugh your head off. That's my announcement.
Amazing. I love laughing my head off. Okay.
I love cracking up.
You know how when you're an adult, it's kind of hard to laugh. You know when you laugh so hard, you are like crying?
Yeah.
Mine happened on 4th of July. We went for a game night with our couple friends. We played this game called Potions. And as our friend Seth was like explaining the rules of potions, it was like you draw these cards to determine which marbles you'll use. And then you use the marbles to get more and like...
That's number wang.
There was just, yeah, it was like kind of a circular thing where it's like, you got to get marbles so you can get potions, so you can get more marbles. And I was just like, anyway, it just
Trade
made
for
me
3 sheep
cry
and 4
laughing,
stick. And...
listening to him earnestly explain the rules of this game.
My last time was watching Conor O'Malley live, but I've already talked about that.
Okay. Love you all. Thanks for being here. Thank you, Balesa, for being here silently in the background at all times of our lives.
And thank you everyone who's showing your shoulders on the street. I don't view you as walking pornography. I view you as walking art. And
Yes.
You're like a beautiful Greek sculpture. And I just appreciate to have witnessed you, and you raise me up as your own child. I love you so much. Bye.
Bye.